Okay, Mr. Receiver, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025, and we are gathered here for the Municipal Financial Recovery Advisory Committee meeting. My name is Michael Dowry, and I have the pleasure of serving as receiver for the City of Chester. As always, we are joined by members of the committee on behalf of the Governor's Office and Department of Community and Economic Development, Deputy Director Andrew Sheaf, on behalf of on behalf of the County of Delaware, and the Delaware County Council, Ms. Kelly Diaz, and on behalf of the City of Chester, Mayor Stefan Roots. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And as always, joined by the heir apparent, the receiver soon to be, Mr. Vijay Kapoor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Unfortunately, Mr. Dill will not be able to join us here today. He is out this week, but he did circulate public comment and the agenda last week. For this committee, we did not receive any public comment directly for the committee. But are there any general we'll get to that in a second. But no, we did not receive any public comment. So we'll continue on with today's agenda, and that's to provide some updates on some key areas. Mr. Kapoor, were there any updates that you had from your station?
Just the only update is the Pennsylvania Supreme Court will be hearing oral argument on May 14th regarding the city and litigation between the city and CWA. We have reached out to CWA in the hopes to restart talks. We hope that offer will be accepted. But again, we continue to prepare for litigation that will be on May 14th in Harrisburg before the Pennsylvania Supreme. And we will provide some information as we get a little closer if folks want to listen to the audio online where they'll be able to do so.
Supreme Court next month. Could you just briefly give an update? When is the Preston Hollow appeal scheduled for?
We don't have an oral argument date yet in the Third Circuit on that. All the briefing has been done. This is the matter involving the bonds. That matter, all the paperwork is in, so to speak, just waiting on the court to schedule the oral argument in that matter, and that is the that is the Third Circuit, Federal Third Circuit Court of Appeals.
And I'll continue on with a couple more updates before turning it over to the committee and spend the bulk of our time talking about the Crozier Medical System and where things currently stand. For me, it's 4 key areas that I've been focused on, and under key hires, I want to mention May 5th. A new Economic and Community Development Director will be starting May 5th. Her name is Nona Watson. She comes to the city with a ton of experience from Buffalo, New York, to Baltimore, Maryland, to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and York, Pennsylvania as well. Very excited to get her to the region. Somewhat of a coming home for her. She's originally from New Jersey, but getting back to the area and supporting the city of Chester any way that she can. So critical hire for the department, and look for continued improvement in that area. Also want to mention the second area was the Stormwater Authority. To date, we have not received a response or compliance with the order regarding the board salaries. So that matter is still open, and we will provide further update for the committee at a later date. The third area are the financial audits. The city is still working on the 2021 audit. We are expecting a draft within the next 2 weeks. So we'll continue to press forward. The new auditors are fully on board and working through it, along with the city's new CFO, well, relatively new CFO. The full team is working hard. We do receive weekly updates every Wednesday, so tomorrow will be our next major update. But we are pressing as much as we can to get these audits out as soon as possible. And then the fourth area is, for me, it was EMS service, the emergency management services provided by, also known as the ambulance service for any region. And with Crozier's situation, team has been working very hard to make sure that there's continuity of operation, continuity of service to the residents. And with that, I want to yield to Mayor Roots to provide the latest update on where things stand.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. As the receiver just said, the situation with Crozier Hospital and the bankruptcy, the imminent closing finally hit us hard on yesterday. That doesn't mean that we haven't been somewhat doing some preliminary planning in the event that the hospital would close, but it's really until they closed and to learn how they're closing and what's going to remain open, could we make any heads or tails as to what our response will be. What I'm going to share with you today will be what is considered the press release that will accompany the emergency declaration that we're putting in place as of today. So in response to the most recent announcement by Prospect Medical Holdings regarding the intended closure of the Crozier Hospital System beginning at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, I signed an official emergency declaration for the city of Chester. This declaration empowers myself to take immediate action to protect the health and safety of Chester residents. It allows the city to bypass certain regulatory and procurement processes, enabling a faster response to the evolving crisis. The declaration also positions Chester to receive critical state and federal emergency assistance if they become available, which is urgently needed during this unprecedented situation. City Council and I are devastated by this crisis, and we are taking every possible step to address the negative impacts this closure will have on the city of Chester and its residents. We're actively working with the receiver and his team to identify viable solutions that will ensure our residents continue to have access to prompt emergency medical services, which will be impacted by Prospect's irresponsible actions. Even if emergency funding is not immediately available from the federal and/or state government, the city is moving swiftly to mitigate the impact of the hospital's closure, particularly the need for continued ambulance and emergency medical services, also known as EMS. The city is currently reviewing proposals to secure reliable additional EMS coverage for Chester. Residents should be assured that calling 911 for medical emergency remains the appropriate course of action. While Crozier will no longer dispatch ambulances upon their closure, Delaware County's 911 system continues to operate, and the nearest available ambulance will respond to emergency calls. However, and listen carefully, the fact of the matter remains that with the closure of the Crozier emergency room, transport times to the nearest appropriate medical facility will obviously increase. Residents and families are encouraged to contact their healthcare providers to understand any changes to their care, including transfer arrangements. Prospect has established a dedicated call center for inquiries related to the hospital transition. The email address for these inquiries is Crozier PA Inquiries at, and I'll spell the term after the at, OMNIAGNT.com. Crozier PA Inquiries at OMNIAGNT.com. And the telephone number is 888-801-2338. If you missed either the phone number or the email address, this very press release will be published on the city website as soon as this meeting ends. Additionally, Delaware County residents can reach out to the Delaware County Health Department's wellness line. That's a local number, 484-276-2100. That is for support in navigating local healthcare resources. Delaware County residents can also consult a dedicated webpage for updates on the situation at delcopa.gov/prospect. So that concludes the media advisory that's going out right now to all of the press. It will be on our websites for you to review. But one thing that has to be said and has to be understood is that the hospital closed yesterday. We are taking action immediately, but there's nothing that we can do immediately that's going to replace the service that we had with ambulances coming out of Crozier Hospital to the city of Chester. This is a solution. The solution for ambulance service in particular has got to be a county-wide solution. We in the city of Chester are going to do our part to determine if we can get ambulance service. But because of the 911 system and the way it works here in the county, any ambulances that come into the 911 system are all shared throughout the county. The one thing that's for certain, whether you're picked up by an ambulance, whether you're being driven in a private vehicle, or however you're transported for care in the case of an emergency, it's going to be a longer drive. Crozier Chester Medical Center is not taking on any patients in their emergency room or in their hospital. That's the reality of the situation. That's what we're working with. And believe me, that's what we're working through right at the ground level with the mayor, the council, the receiver, the county, and the state. Any and all help that we can get, we're going to receive. We're going to make the smartest decisions with the information that we have on a regular basis. The reason for doing the declaration of emergency is just in case there are funding or resources that become available. This declaration gives us the authority to go after it immediately and not have to go through a bureaucratic process to get it, like having council meetings or getting sign-offs. These emergency declarations aren't meant to last forever, so there could be the chance that we'll be coming back in a week or so to extend this emergency declaration if we see that it's needed. But the real emergency declaration out there is for you as residents, as business owners, as people here in the city of Chester and throughout the county of Delaware. Things have changed dramatically with the closure of Crozier Hospital. Be prepared. Get to know your situation, how to get to the nearest hospital. Get in touch with your family doctors if you need any services. And please look at the press release when you get a chance. Check out the phone numbers. Check out the web pages for resources that are in and around your area that you can also get medical support, specifically your urgent care centers, your family practitioners, and anything else that could be added to the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for sharing such an important update. Are there any questions from the other committee members?
Just, Mr. Receiver, I just would like to just jump in and in particular extend thanks to Representative Kazim as well as Dr. Monica Taylor. I know there's been a lot of work that's been going on quite a bit behind the scenes, as the mayor I think eloquently laid out. This is obviously a crisis for the community. Crozier is not going to be replaced overnight, and many communities here are figuring out how they're going to work through things. I do not, and I certainly the mayor was not doing so, want to minimize the amount of work that's been going on, that it is continues to go on behind the scenes. I know Representative Kazim's office is working very hard with families to try and who are in the hospital to find new locations for them. I know Dr. Taylor is working very hard on a stopgap measure regarding EMS for the counties, and we certainly want to extend our thanks to them personally, as well as everybody else who is working very, very hard behind the scenes. So I just wanted to note that for the committee.
Good, thanks.
Certainly. And acknowledge that we are joined by Councilman Davis on behalf of the city of Chester as well. Are there any other comments or questions of the committee?
Well, right here in the city, I have to also tip my hat to our health commissioner, Dr. Kristen Motley, who's been tracking this from many angles, and also our fire commissioner, John Paul Shirley, who has a lot of experience in the emergency medical world. So it takes a lot of people with experience with the objective, with the shared objective of just finding solutions, and anything's on the table. So even you out there as viewers, as citizens, if you have some recommendations or suggestions, don't be shy. Please share it with us, because this is a very fluid situation that you know, the perfect solution can come at any minute. So we are not dismissing any advice coming from anywhere.
Certainly, certainly. All right, well, that I think concludes today's IMPRAC meeting. We will reconvene the second Tuesday of May, second and fourth Tuesdays of May. If there are any questions, comments, concerns in the interim, please don't hesitate to reach out to either my office or the mayor's office or any committee member if anyone would like to engage. We look forward to that. In the meantime, thank you for your participation to the committee, and we'll see you again. Have a good day. Meeting adjourned.